So on to our Q&A portion. The pleasure of introducing two special guests. First, Kim Irvine, art director with Walt Disney Imagineering. Kim leads a diverse team of Imagineers who oversee the constant care and enhancement of Disneyland Park. For this project, she was instrumental in the design of the stunning new enhancements to the Rivers of America and the Disneyland Railroad. Second, Zsolt Hormay, a creative executive, also with Walt Disney Imagineering. Zsolt is a world-renowned expert in the design, creation, and construction of themed environments. Specifically for this project, he was responsible for the design and installation of the beautiful rock formations, water features, and environmental construction. So to kick things off, does anyone have any questions? Sir? Yes, sir?
Okay. So talk about a little bit about how you tried to preserve some of the elements of the past from back there while you were designing the new.
Well, you know, the Rivers of America and the Railroad were both some of Walt's original attractions in 1955. And they were inspired by the films that he had been making of the True Life Adventures, which was all about nature. And in fact, many of them won Academy Awards for short films. He wanted to educate the guest in a very entertaining way. And so a lot of his original attractions, like the Jungle Cruise and the rivers and the trains, were showing people different parts of the world in an entertaining way. And so he had, you may remember the old mine train through Nature's Wonderland and Rainbow Ridge. And he had Mark Davis and Sam McKim working very hard on creating very natural scenes all along the river and the railroad. With the, you know, remember bear country with the scratching bears and the moose and the Native American village, all of those things, except for bear country, because we did a bear country down here. We returned back to the river, which is fantastic. Everything that used to be on the river is here, including a few new things that Sam and Mark had sketched and were never able to get into the show for one reason or another. So I hope you'll notice all those. And we also pay homage to the old mine train ride with a little bit of surprise rock work and maybe a mountain lion or two here and there.
And also, if I may add, the challenge was from a placemaking, standpoint to, like, Kim was explaining, to really respect and cherish the old, history behind everything, but adding a new element, it was challenging to how to blend the two so nothing looks like a part and it all blends together. But I think that we're very successful with the colors and the textures and the geology to make sure that it flows, throughout the whole new attraction and the old existing ones.
Thank you.
You can see the construction of what we believe is going to be Star Wars land. How is the landscape going to incorporate that?
Well, I mean, after all, we are in the theme park, so it's really, really difficult to just kind of cover up everything from every angle, but we're going to try very hard to have the landscape do the work for us, especially from these angles, and at the same time, completing the future project so it looks, finished and beautiful from any parts of the park.
That was one of the driving things for our design of the river and the railroad, was not to be able to see in the new land, and for the new land not to see into the old land. And so, of course, that meant putting a big high berm in the center, and we didn't have much width, but with the height, it allowed us to create this amazing rock work that Zsolt did, these towering mountains, and then the amazing forests on top of them. And therefore the train is able to traverse up at a height and over the river for the first time with, by the way, 5 new waterfalls, which is pretty amazing to get waterfalls back in the park.
Yeah, we're very, very pleased with the way they turned out. Waterfalls can be tricky, but we feel that these are really one of the most beautiful ones we have done, so we're pretty happy about that.
Can you talk for a bit about Walt's interest in trains, and how today is kind of a culmination of his shared interest with Ward and with Ollie?
Well, you know, the railroads were one of the most important things to Walt. In fact, it was the first thing he put on the map of Disneyland. Even when it was going to be up in Burbank, it was the first thing he put on the map. And that, the train traversing the perimeter of the park is what defined that shape of Disneyland, that triangular shape. So we know how important it was and how much, you know, he adored trains. And what's very cool is how John Lasseter and the new animators have carried on that tradition of the passion for the railroad.
And also, with the new layout that we just completed, this is going to be the first time when the train actually will take a left turn to complete the, you know, the circle around Disneyland, which is kind of cool.
Our poor engineers have had to practice that over and over.
And on that subject, when did they actually manage to get the first trains on the newly laid track?
Well, you know, they've been practicing for quite a few weeks now. I don't know exactly when, but there was, you know, quite a bit of testing, adjusting. We had to actually alter the track a couple of times because you never know when you're getting it exactly right. An amazing team of railroad track layers, which I've never watched that process happen before, and it was absolutely fascinating. But I think the engineers are really enjoying this new trek through the wilderness.
It's really a science, actually, if you just dig into the whole process of maintaining, building, you know, trains. It's really amazing process. Very intriguing.
Anyone else? I have one question actually, because I love the story of the four rivers. Can we tell a little bit about kind of how the distinct areas are represented?
Well, Walt had called this the Rivers of America, and it was kind of a culmination of all rivers together. And about 10 years ago, we had an opportunity when we did a big landscaping rehab to actually create 4 different rivers. We go through the Mississippi, then into the Columbia, then the Missouri, and then the Rio Grande. And those stories allow us to change actually the flora, fauna, and rock styles moving from one place to the next. So you go through the Mississippi with the wispy willow trees and such, then into the Columbia with the big forests of evergreens and pines, and into the Missouri with all broadleaf trees that change color in the fall, which should be a fantastic scene when you get there. And then into the Rio Grande where you get into dry, brittle Palo Verde trees and such. And then the
And as always, you know, our team spent a lot of time studying the indigenous geology for each area. We really wanted to make sure that we render it exactly the way it is in nature, so it's very believable that you're actually traversing through all those beautiful areas across the United States.
All right, thank you very much.